and the time now is 2:10 in the morning. My name is Ahmed Manafa, and I'm a faculty at the College of Engineering of San Jose State. Almost 6 or 7 years dealing with IoT. Today's webinar, we'll talk about a very specific element. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over a few things before we start. Let me introduce myself first to everybody here. This will give you a chance. Let me have a clean. Okay. Just 1 minute, please. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this will take care of it so everybody can see. This is a little bit about myself, and give you some background about who I am and what I'm doing, and how the I'll give you 1 minute to read this because we need to start. We already wasted 10 minutes on technical. I taught at many schools here, University of California, namely Berkeley, and also some of my research picked up by magazines and organizations like Forbes and MIT Technology. So enough talking about this, let's move on. So let's start with this. Before we can do anything, let's start with this. We'll start with this seconds and think Internet of Things and artificial thinking about the biggest change. I totally agree with that. 73% say they invested in IoT and 54% in artificial. They did the survey. They asked about 2,000 executives, and this is they got this sentiment from the executive. They have the money, understanding of this kind of both of them, the IoT and the artificial intelligence, as something which is going to bring a lot of change to the goal for anybody who's secure and a smart IoT. Today we're going to talk about the smart IoT. Secure. Hopefully in a future webinar we're going to talk about it. Having both of them, it's very crucial for the business. I need both. I cannot have something which is, or I cannot have something with a smart and secure, because that's not going to help me in any side. If it's secure and dumb, nobody will use it. If it is smart and insecure, then somebody will abuse it. So keep this in mind, that when we talk about the solution here. Businesses across the world of Internet of Things, whether directly or indirectly. Reason for this one is we're looking for a product compatible with the concept of Internet of Things. It is one way for you to join a huge opportunity by making sure that your product, your service is more definition and have intelligence in this case. I will be taking all the questions of the webinar. I'll be more than happy to answer that. I will leave my contact information also on a slide, so you are welcome to. If I couldn't answer your question today, you can just send me an email, and I'll be happy to answer that. And I promise you, I'm going to answer all the questions. Whether it's today or through the email. The transformation here basically brings a new era of how companies run their operations and how they engage with their customers. SAP, the huge, beautiful, excellent German company, did a survey. They did actually a study, and that study lasted for about 6 months. And I was privileged to be part of that study. They asked 21 experts in IoT from across the board in the United States, and they just they see the future of IoT. And the link is on my LinkedIn. You can go and look at that study. But the bottom line is, my belief with IoT is reducing the distance between the customers and between the companies to make it, in both ways, whether the customers need or the companies offers. So distance is zero. It's easy for you. It's easy for you to service your customer, and you can do this one by understanding everything happening in the life of the customer, making everything around the customer smart, so he or she will get whatever they want. I mean, example here with Amazon. Amazon is really branching everywhere. You have some smart buttons. You have Alexa. You have all these kind of devices that's around the hub, and that hub is Alexa for Amazon. So if I would like to order something, place this order, move this one, change this. Parallel to this one is Google's trying hard with their own device here. On the other side of the IO, you can see as their central part, for the Internet of Things. And yesterday, the introduced so many products, 10, iPhone 8, and all the access points need to work. But the big question here is, okay, so you have the network, you have the access point, you have the customers of IoT, unless they are using some kind. That one will enable smart machine to simulate the intelligent behavior and make well-informed decisions. Really going through the internet in 1 minute, and to visualize veracity and the volume of the data there, and how can you deal with it. And now can you imagine if you multiply it by X numbers as part of the IoT, you need to process these data. And if you don't process them in an intelligent way to get some kind of intelligent information, and based this when it can make intelligent decisions, then you're wasting your time somewhere and collecting all the business cards from everybody important in that cloud somewhere. Nobody is processing it. The simplest definition for IoT is a system of interrelated physical, objects, sensor objects, and people and services, platforms, and network that have separate identifier and an ability to transfer data independently. So this is some of the examples of the application that we see them in some kind of agriculture. Apple yesterday was talking of a heart monitoring, and how is their watch is part of the study they're doing. So it's going to be in your hand, and it's going to be following your health and signs, and send it to your doctor, and the doctor can take an action based on that, and collecting and exchanging information from the environment. So this is just an example of this. One key thing, and I always love to touch on that. There actually some kind of separation here, or looking at the same coin from different parts. In the United States, we don't care about Industry 4.0. I mean, I'm saying this one because I remember last year I have 2 graduate students from Sweden. They came all the way to the United States. They met with few people, and then they swing by my office in San Jose State, and they ask me questions. They keep asking me about the Industry 4.0, part of their study. Outside the United States, people look at IoT as the driver for the fourth industrial revolution, the Industry 4.0. And we look at the consumer. We look at the consumer part. Outside the United States, they look at the manufacturing, the smart cities, the smart streets. We look at it at the macro level. Here, the United States, it's more relevant to us at the level of the consumer. So you can understand that there is actually a disconnect here on the initiatives. Gartner, they forecast that we're going to have something like almost 21 billion connected devices and used in the world in 2020. Cisco, they go all the way to 50 billion devices. So in between this one, the number is huge. You have connected devices exchanging information and taking back and forth, you know, the information here, that is really big. Let me make sure that I'm doing fine here. Okay, just want to open the chat. Okay, good, so I'm okay. Now we're going to talk about the other side of the coin, the smart part of this, which is artificial intelligence. It's the engine. So the artificial intelligence is the brain here for the IoT that will enable analytics and decision making from data collected by the IoT. IoT will collect the data. AI will process the data, and this will end up on a dashboard for the CEO, or sometimes you can create your own algorithm. Itself will process this kind of information and give you options or make a decision for you when we get to a higher level of artificial intelligence. You can see these systems working together and at a personal level here. With Google Home or Amazon Alexa or Apple Siri. And I don't know if you noticed this, but the more you are using those personal assistant, digital personal assistant devices, the more they really get better. If you buy an Apple product and you have Siri there, and after 1 year, you notice that Siri is really trying to learn your style, understanding your vacations, yourself. And if you ask a question, it's going to be within the same context of who you are. Instead, compare a question at the beginning and the question a year from now. You're going to see a big difference here. And this is the learning process. This is part of their, machine learning, algorithm they are using to make sure that it's really understand that. Similar to your search at Google. Your search at Google is, and I worked at Google for some time. The search based on many factors, or your location. You add to this one your history of looking at this, and all these things will be an element of exactly what he or she is looking for. So that is also adding to how smart it is using the artificial intelligence to process data here. So 1 minute on the internet, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this because we are really limited in time here. But I'm going to give you an example about this, and I'm sure that many of you, not all of you, have seen this before. If you look at something like Google search, 3.5 million search in 1 minute. If you look at how much sales they have online, 50,000. And if you look at Twitter, about 450,000 tweets sent, in that plot. So that's huge. That's really huge. That's not something simple. So if you are one of those companies on the receiving end of this kind of activities, you would like to know how can you process this data. And this is all coming from different parts. And this is the ones that we know about. I'm talking about manufacturing. It's going to come from sensors and the different pipelines. It's going to come from, servers, farms that everywhere, data center somewhere, and, in the north and the south, and you'd like to have information about it. If it's coming from a university, you have it from different labs, from different classrooms. You can think about it, in a sense of this data will be sent towards me, and what's going to happen? How can I deal with that? More connected devices comes more data that has the potential getting insights. The problem is how to analyze it. Now, you collect it is one thing. You analyze it, this is something else here. Artificial intelligence will come and help in this case. And artificial intelligence is the AI itself. It's a big world, you know. It's a big word and big world at the same time, because it's different meaning for different people. It depends on the application here and how you learning and deep learning, and how that's going to help you to here. And hopefully in a future webinar I can talk about the different levels of artificial intelligence and how it is really helping here. A side note here, I have friends in MIT media and talking about something. You can read about this in the news too. They have robots that talk to each other and teach each other programming without intervention of human. And they tested that one, and it's working, and they start it's helping each other, to build some there. And they shut down that project because they don't know where this is gonna lead. But this is an example of where AI can go. Its benefits for both customers and companies. I love it. When I go and buy from Amazon, if you have that experience, I buy something and there is a recommendation at the bottom. That recommendation is coming from the experience of other customers and from my own experience. And one of the things that I discovered when I was talking to his vice president of IoT in Amazon in March, he came here to the Silicon Valley, giving a presentation about IoT and Amazon pricing. The price I'm getting from, if I want to buy a product, is different from the price somebody is getting that one from a different city based on the history and the zip code and the income and the credit report. They take this all together, and this algorithm will give you a price. They know that it's within your range here. It's also helpful to enable us to find ways for connected devices to work better, because we're going to gather this information. We'll find out that some of the devices is really better in collecting data, and that will help us in this sense. All of this one will have more adoption rate. So let's move on here. So example of the IoT data itself is the following. I'm going to go very quick on this one because I want to get into the heart of the webinar here. Data that helps cities predict accidents and crimes. And this is not something which is, you can see it inside. Somebody's talking about it without understanding, looking at it as some kind of futuristic, concept. It's not. It's actually something real that predict accident and crimes. This is nothing to do with Minority Report movie where you can go and arrest people before they're committing the crime. This is real, which is you send the force, you send the police to the place where you expect the crime to be there. Data that gives doctor real-time insight information from the pacemaker to the biochips. Now, one scenario, and I remember when I was explaining something to this professor from Stanford, we were talking about the future applications of IoT. There was one scenario, which is you have everything around you is smart. So I woke up in the morning, I look in the mirror, I'm brushing my teeth, and then listen, you look sick, you don't look good. In a sense, if you look tired, and the mirror will send me this message, say whether it's voice or some kind of display there. I have this appointment at the doctor for you. I moved I have Uber driver will take you cannot drive, and the doctor will see you. I already organize everything for you because the mirror itself or anything around you is part of a network. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go to the doctor. The doctor will give you the prescription. You're done with it. That prescription container itself is a smart one. So if you go on below a certain number of pills, we'll send a signal to the doctor. The doctor will approve you load of pills, and the pharmacy will have it ready, and the drone will come all the way to wherever you're living, and then we'll look at you, scan your eyes, make sure that you're the right person, and after that one, they will give you that medication. And this is just an example, to look at how can this will help in a whole cycle of without human intervention of the delivery, which is the the mechanical or the the tasks that can be done by machines. Productivity across the thing. The predictive maintenance is also a big thing here. Create truly smart homes with connected appliances. I have Nest. Nest is a company bought by Google, and it's not far away from where I am. I'm sitting here, Palo Alto, and they have smart thermostats, and they have smart smoke detectors, and they have smart cameras. A friend of mine working there, they give me of them, try them. Now here's the story about it, and this is going to lead us to the next screen here. The smoke detector and the thermostat and the camera. So the thermostat itself, when you're passing by that one, will light up. So any motion in the house that within the range of that thermostat, which is in a prime location, and I can program it. It's all connected to Wi-Fi. All these products are connected to Wi-Fi. And the smoke detector itself will, it's not just smoke detector. There's more into that. I was thinking about it for a second. I say, okay, so all this information fed back, sent back to Google. So Google would know exactly if I'm home or not. Why? Because there is a movement in the house. Now, the biggest problem is the smoke detector. So the smoke detector itself is a lab. That lab will do the following. It's going to analyze the smells inside the house. They will know exactly what kind of food I'm making. They know exactly how many people there because of the smell of the human there and the heat and all these things. And they can take that information and send it and sell it to somebody. They say, okay, this person or this family is doing so and so. The camera, everybody knows about how that's kind of, IM people in this case. Data that provide critical communication between self-driving car. Tesla is about 15 minutes from my location, and it's a story by itself. Tesla is in processing the data, and they're working with Amazon on that, because when you drive that, you want to have some kind of an update or a delay and making a decision whether you press that brake, you speed up, you slow down, because that's to be better of life or death. And the Wi-Fi is not working. Wi-Fi is not enough because they have tons of information sent from the car to the internet to process and then have the decision back to the car. So they have this issue with the self-driving cars here. Human, they cannot review and understand all of this data. It's too much. It's a lot of information, a lot of data. There's no way for you to do. So how can AI and IoT data analytics work together? There are actually 6 areas that we're going to cover, and I think I have enough time to go over that. I will cover each one of them very quickly so we have an understanding about the concepts here. Okay, let me see what we have. I want to make sure that I'm okay with this. The AI and IoT data analytics here. There are 6 areas that they can. Okay, let's just do this. There are 6 areas, or 6 types of IoT data analysis, where data preparation, defining pools of data and clean them, which will take us to the concept of something called dark data and data lakes. And those 2 concepts, you can Google them, you can find a lot of information about it. Article about dark data, you are more than welcome to check that, and also about data lake. The dark data is basically a big chunk of the process. About 90% is dark. Dark data is an information that you don't know what to do with it. And you need more analytics to go through this one. AI can help with that, can really help preparing the data and make sure that you're only dealing with the data that makes sense. And this is the big question. How can I really make that decision about saying this is good data, this is a bad data, this is a dark data, this is something that I should skip. This is just a noise. This is just a redundancy here. The second one is the discovery. The data discovery, finding useful and pools of data. Well, okay, I know this data is good. It's not noise. It's not some kind of a redundancy. It's not just a repetition. Now, how can I find this, the useful data inside this one, which I will process? And we're talking about nanoseconds here. We're not talking about days. We're not talking about hours. We're talking about this processing has to be instant. You cannot do this if you don't have a good artificial intelligence algorithm here. Finding somebody who really good in AI, finding somebody skills, which is skilled people who understand the machine learning and you can go deep into the deep learning here, is a challenge for Silicon Valley here. And if you have an interest in this one and you can really be an expert in this one, you're gonna have offers until the day after tomorrow, because companies are looking for people who are expert in that field. The third one is visualization of streaming data, on the fly dealing with streaming data by defining. I'll talk to this entrepreneur. He has a dashboard, and this dashboard is connected to a network, and this network connected to sensors and different pipelines for refineries and one of the oil companies here, which is not far from us. They tested this one and the different pressures for the pipes, and they receive this information live. And his startups start picking up, and they like it and they fund it. Why? Because that will solve a big problem for them. Instead of sending people or waiting until they have some kind of a drop in the pressure somewhere, why? And they send somebody to check this one, they can have all this one live, and they have it in a very intelligent way without penetrating the pipes. There is some kind of a technical detail about this, and visualizing this one in a smart way, so it's be easy for you to make that decision. So the fourth one is time series accuracy of data. If you study Fourier transform, if you study statistic and probability, that will make more sense to you. Keeping the level of confidence in the data collected high, with high accuracy and integrity of the data. That's another thing that artificial intelligence can help you with. Predictive and advanced analytics, big field here for the companies. Companies like Microsoft, IBM, even Oracle, those companies are really dealing with this field. They love it. The advantage about predictive and advanced analytics. Very important step where decisions can be made based on data collected, discovered and analyzed. And I don't want to wait. I want to go, ahead of the curve and go ahead and make that decision, knowing that the data given to me is really giving me good insight about what is the next step. And talking about the logistical data here, maintaining the flow of the data smoothly and under control. Remember, this is all talking about how AI is really helping the IoT data analytics by doing all these kind of elements here. The application of in IoT here, visual big data, for example, will allow computers to gain a deeper understanding of images on the screen with new applications and understanding of that. This can be used everywhere. You can use it in retail, you can use it in national security, you can use it at multiple levels without any problem. It's given that there is an accuracy here. Cognitive system will create new recipes that will appeal to the user sense, optimize the menu, for example, for each one of them, automatically adapt the local ingredients. Just that's at the consumer level. New sensors will allow computer to hear, gather, sonic information about the user environment. And there's this borderline. I'm going to talk about the challenges facing the AI and the IoT, which makes sense. Okay, so if you're going to hear everything I'm saying, if you're not going to sense everything I'm saying, that's a problem. I mean, if you have an Xbox at home, you know that this Xbox is listening to you. If you have Alexa at home, you know that Alexa is really gathering information nonstop. There was a famous, case, a murder case here in Arkansas, where the witness was Alexa, Amazon Alexa. Why? Because Alexa captured all the fighting and among the different, the two people in the house, and the police managed to get that file, that audio file, and then they use it against the killer. This is another way of saying, okay, yeah, nobody's home. No, everybody is home. Why? Because everything can feel, can hear, can process what you're talking about. So this is another thing about the sensors. Connecting operations with smart and connected warehouse operations. Workers no longer have to go to the shelves. They can do this. And the funny thing about this is this guy, the vice president of the IoT division at Amazon, he was talking about warehouses of Amazon here, and he said if you go there, you're gonna see that most of the warehouses actually dark. There's no light because robots they don't need light. I mean, the machines they programmed, exactly the location. There's like the human; they have to see this one. They can just go with with the direction here. Instead, shelves whisk down the IOs here, guided by small robotic platform to get the work done. Fulfillment is faster, safer, and more efficient. Preventive and predictive maintenance, saving companies, a big thing for them. So this is some of the applications here, but challenges. And I don't know how much time left for me here, but I think let me just go back to the chat here. I think we have an hour here. Let me ask the organizer how much time left. Just 1 second. Okay. So challenges facing the artificial intelligence in IoT. Okay, this is a diagram. This will explain all of them. I'm going to go over all the 5 elements here. From compatibility to complexity here to privacy, security, all the way to ethical and legal issues. And the last one is the interesting artificial stability. So those are the challenges facing AI in IoT. Let's talk about compatibility. IoT is a collection of many parts and systems. They are fundamentally different in time and space. And if you allow me, I'll talk for 2 minutes about the problem here. I wrote an article which is actually touching on 3 challenges facing IoT, and you can find it on my LinkedIn, or you can find it under the IEEE IoT Society. You can find that article. To summarize what this article about is very simple. Any new trend will fit. Number 1 is the technology business. Number 3 is society. Let me explain this with an example. If you have a new trend, whether it's in technology, and you have to deal with all these 3 filters or obstacles. Number 1, do we have the technology to do it? And if you think about the IoT, we have the technology, but there's a problem. It's scattered. It's all over the place. Talking to the head of SAP here in the United States, I had the chance to talk to him about this issue. I'm talking to somebody from IEEE as an organization. All of them agree on one thing, that we need some kind of a unified standard for IoT. So if somebody would like to create a device and want this device to be compatible with IoT, they have to follow these standards. And that is the key thing. It's like the ISO 9000. It's like any kind of compatible device, plug and play, where you can just plug it and it's going to be, the system will recognize that. Now we don't have that. Every company is claiming that they are the leader in that field. From Google to Apple to IBM, especially IBM, they have Watson as their leader in this field. So if you want to be part of IoT, you have to have your devices, you have to have your drivers be part of that ecosystem. It's a collection of many parts. So this is the first one, the technology. The second obstacle is the business. How can you make money out of that? What's in it for me? And the third one, the society, how the society will accept that. And society will be the citizen and the government. If the people will accept it, what about the government? Will they allow something like that, and vice versa? The second one is, it's complicated. Many moving parts, non-stop streaming of data, making it a very complicated ecosystem. So those are the challenges. So if you're writing down an algorithm, a program or you are really starting to gather all these pieces to make this system, this artificial intelligence system that will deal with devices at the level of IoT, about this. Think about the compatibility, complicated system you are dealing with, the different operating system that all these devices are running with, and also there are many other factors. The sensors are not intelligent. They are really censored. They have small capacity on storage. They have low processing. They have low memory. And if you are close to the cloud and to the processing machine, now it's get more intelligent. A concept, I'm going to throw the name here for you guys and ladies to think about it, is the concept of fog computing, FOG, fog, like the fog we have, in the morning computing. Sometimes they call it the edge computing, which is one way for us to deal with this kind of processing, which is processing at the edge before you send it to the center here. The PSS is always an issue. With every new technology, we ask ourselves about the privacy and about the issues of, okay, how can we protect the privacy, the security, and how we make it safe for the consumers. Europe, they have a very strict rules for privacy compared to the United States. Have it a little bit relaxed. Only somebody suing the companies or suing the organization, then they fix it. The new solution for such a problem is using blockchain technology. I have like 3 articles about this. You're welcome, more than welcome to read about it. Hopefully in the future I can have a webinar about blockchain and the IoT. The blockchain is the other side of the equation, which is we're talking about secure and smart IoT, smart using artificial intelligence, secure using blockchain technology. Blockchain in a nutshell is a distributed database or ledger compared to the centralized we have now. So there's no single point of failure. It's distributed all over the place. So there's no, one of the elements of the database is down, the others can function without having one centralized. Ethical and legal issues, this is a new territory. We haven't seen this one before. We don't know what will be the impact of this. We don't know what protection we have here. We have no idea about how is that gonna, end up and emerge. So ethical, legal issues, how can you deal with that? That's another part here. Artificial stability is garbage in, garbage out. It's a well-known concept here. If you don't have the data as good data here, then you still the system will process whatever you give it. To it, and artificial intelligence still needs training, understanding the human reactions, emotions, so the decision will make sense. Until we get to that stage, we still have many years ahead of us. But one thing which is exciting about this, now it's real, and I'm one reason because tablets was invented in the 80s. Smartphones with the touch screen. It was actually in the 90s you have them. We didn't have the infrastructure for that. Now we have the internet. Now we have the broadband. Now we have the connectivity everywhere. We have the infrastructure. We have the computing power to process, to have an artificial intelligence which makes sense. Back in the days, it's only in the labs of the universities or in the government you can do some kind of experiment and you can use it for the consumers. But now it makes sense that it's probably this is the time for artificial intelligence to take off. And take off in a sense, it's not gonna be Skynet or the Terminator will come and control the world and would shut down everything and they will get rid of the human. That's just in the movies, but in reality there are so many things you can do before we can get to that stage. So the conclusion about something like this, IoT is really quite impressive. Everybody love that. It's really does not amount to much without the artificial intelligence. So you have the muscles, you have you have all this power, you have all this data, but you don't have a brain. Without the brain, it's just a beautiful, fascinating structure with all these data going back and forth, but make no sense. With artificial intelligence, now it's going to make sense to us. Both technologies need to reach the same level of development so they can function, perfectly here. For the artificial intelligence, we need more smart algorithms here. We need more research about this one, and the companies are doing that. I know that Facebook is a leader in this, and they have their own artificial intelligence lab that is doing some kind of crazy stuff. Same thing with Google, same thing with Apple, and IBM is also another one in this field. The IoT now is talking about the hardware and the software. Once we have the standards, once a company or an organization like IEEE will take over, take the leads, and create some kind of a standard for it, like what they did with the IEEE 802.xx, you know, like what they did with most of the standards, and everybody will follow that. And instead of saying, okay, it is it is Cisco's, you know, operating system, or just IBM. If we still do talking about this one, then it's going to be two different universes here. Trying to find ways to make more intelligent data analysis software and devices in order to make safe and effective IoT is a reality. Takes time, yes. IoT development is lagging behind IoT. You know, the artificial intelligence is lagging behind IoT because of many factors. People talked about IoT a long time ago, 5 years. I mean, artificial intelligence became a reality when you're talking about the digital assistants. And I remember that the three obstacles that facing any trend, even like artificial intelligence. The technology is still evolving for that. The money is not clear for so many companies so far, and also the acceptance of the society. Until we these obstacles, we will be lagging in this, you know, in this field. Integrating both, becoming, you know, network is becoming a prerequisite for success in today. IoT-based digital ecosystems. I hear that from so many companies here in the Valley. They understand that. The term smart is another way to tell you I'm dealing with artificial intelligence. You're saying this is artificial intelligence. The minute somebody told you this is a smart card, this is a smart card, this is a smart device, you know that there is some kind of artificial intelligence is used in this, you know, in this device or in this service. You know, and that will drive the value for combining both AI and IoT, and or face, you know, if they don't do this one, they're going to catch up with this, and the time span for anything to be new here and to be the leader in the market after 6 months, you're done. The only way to keep up with this IoT generated data and gain the hidden insights, which is the key thing, the insights here, is to use AI as the catalyst of the IoT. And if you have this in mind, it's easy for you to understand why you have to work on both tracks. If you notice that I have numbers for every time I have some of the facts, and this is actually the references for the numbers here. This is my contact. If you have any question, I don't know if we have time for questions here. Let me just expand this because I cannot see the questions here. For some reason, it's too big here. Okay, so, okay. This is my contact information. I have my LinkedIn, I have my email, and I have my Twitter account. Okay, you know, I got a problem with the with expanding the screen here. It's too small for the questions here. Okay, 1 minute. Okay. Oh, I need some help with that because this one is not expanding here. Okay, what are the prerequisites for IoT? Okay, okay, I need to go through this one by one. I want to go to the first question, and then I think we have like 7 minutes left for us. There's a lot of questions. Oh, thank you guys. I have a lot of questions here. Okay, so next one. Second here. Just give me a second. I'm trying to go through the questions here. Okay, so I have some nice talk here. Thank you for arranging this and all these kind of things. Okay, let's see. Think about is there any other use of IoT or integration with commerce, web application, or matter? Well, there's actually a big, issue about it. And I think the left. Said is asking help fast and early prediction of medical issues. Yes, it's very important in that sense. Can you tell us about there are any recommended online courses to start by it? Okay. Talking about how can you start something like this? There are scattered courses in Coursera.com. You can go and find that. It's free. If you want to have a certificate, you have to pay for that. But I know MIT, I know Stanford, they have free courses that you can just watch the videos and read the assignments and do it, and then you'll have an introduction about IoT, and that's going to help you with that part. Okay, let me see. Okay, what's the next one? Okay. To record this session. Okay, I think I don't see that many questions here that can ask which iOS is better for. Oh, okay, good. This is a good question. So who asked that question? Rodwan. Yeah, asking which iOS is better for IoT devices. Well, that's a big question. There is the where they're trying to push OpenStack as one of which is the operating system for the cloud. They want to try to push this one on the devices of IoT. Well, and until now, which one is better? Nobody knows. They have to have an agreement about it before they can say, okay, this is how it's gonna go. Okay, let me see how vendors perceive the use sensory response in the IoT. It's a challenge. It's actually a challenge for them, and that's why you need the artificial intelligence in this case to deal with that. Yes, this is Sean, I think. Hopefully in the future, I will have, but I'm going to try to make it, another time. 2 a.m. is too much for me here, but it's the first time. What value does IoT have to offer in terms of cost saving? A lot. Salman, a lot, because you are saving on many factors. You're saving in time, you're saving in money, and you're saving on people. You don't have to wait until the end of the when something happens. You can sense that one, you can predict that, and you can fix it. You can save time by finding the best way for you to process that. Companies using IoT, they can see that value. How to be that you mentioned about that the companies. Oh, okay. Okay. Send me an email about that. It's you have to be an artificial intelligence expert. And this is part of the computer science and the and math. So if you have that kind of background, then yes. Okay. So I think. Okay, if there is no more questions, I will conclude. Let me move to the next slide here to give my friends at the Internet of Things in Egypt shout out about it. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks to everyone. I really appreciate that. Please let me know. This is my contact information again, and email me. You can join my LinkedIn. You can follow me on Twitter. I'll be happy to see you. On that side of the world. Okay. Have a wonderful night, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day here. Hours before I go to work. Good night.